This is a Guide Your Light network production, creating podcasts with purpose.
Hey there, welcome to Beauty in the Pond podcast. I'm Kiani Mills.
And I'm Andy Reid.
Two friends who have a very similar set of values, but who have taken very different life paths to end up in similar situations.
We are also business owners, parents, property enthusiasts, and bloody short on time. So we bring you this podcast to shine a light on humanising business.
Because look, let's face it, business is life, and life is business.
Now then, team, Andy here with Kiani, humanising business. I'm sure you will have seen a little bit of a rebrand. I believe it's called Growing Up, Key. How are you?
We have our big boy and big girl pants on now.
Big time. Gang, the reason why just before we crack on with today's episode, the reason why we've changed to humanising business with Beauty in the Pond is mainly because of some of the incredible feedback that we've had, and the appreciation that we feel for that made us go, you know what, this is something that a few people are getting a bit of value from. So best we take it a little bit more seriously than the experiment that it once was. So consider this a commitment from us that this is going to be a mainstay in your podcast ears for some time. Key?
It's funny because the instant thing that came up when you use the word commitment, we have spoken at the start of the podcast where it feels like we're dating the audience. Yes. And now it's like, no, the dating worked really well. Thanks, guys. You loved that. We're here to stay. And this is the commitment that we're going to make to grow and evolve in our relationship with you. So thank you for staying on the ride with us.
I'm glad that you remembered that analogy, right? I'm glad you remembered that one. Right, let's get stuck into it. So this is effectively the second part of a podcast that came out a couple of episodes ago, I think, around getting off the conveyor belt. And for those of you that did listen, you will have heard this concept of the purple pill just creep into your psyche towards the end of that episode. For those of you that didn't listen to that episode, it says jumping off the conveyor belt. I'd recommend you go and have a listen to it, but it doesn't stop you from getting some value out of this one as a separate episode anyway. So, Kiani, let's just summarize just very quickly what we meant by getting off the conveyor belt, and then let's get stuck in to this purple pill carry on.
Very cool, yeah. So the concept came, if we take it right back to the start, an amazing movie called The Matrix, which most of us have seen. And I know for me that Keanu Reeves holds a dear place in my heart from being teased as a kid when I got my hair cut short and they called me Keanu Reeves. So no insult from my side. I'm totally okay. But the movie The Matrix, it is about Neo, who has the choice to take the red pill or the blue pill. And the blue pill essentially was the episode that we spoke about, which is the conveyor belt life, which is almost being ignorant to the fact there's anything else out there, staying plugged into the matrix and just being a slave to their own lives and their own upbringing based on what their parents knew, what their parents knew, and I guess the indoctrinations and the patterns and the habits that we create, where we truly learn to believe that we are just the way we are. This is the way I was born. This is the way I was programmed. And so we dove into the life that is that conveyor belt, which, you know, can be the white collar, blue collar life. We can be corporate. It can be that kind of work mode or that work ethic that overtakes us in our everyday life. And so from that, we played with the idea of, okay, well, if that's our blue pill, then our red pill is, you know, when we look at people who have gone totally the opposite, who refuse to conform, who refuse to even jump on that conveyor belt. There's no respect or understanding or appreciation for governments and even like, you know, our frontline workers or things like that. It's the extremes, right? The radicals. So your yogis that live off the land, that don't have a carbon footprint, which, while yes, that's an amazing way to live, they're quite isolated and maybe restricted in what they can and can't do because of the beliefs that they've put in place. And I actually had a story the other day where someone said to me that they were interested in removing themselves off the grid altogether. So that's the red pill in terms of the matrix, is plugging from the matrix and seeing the reality of the world beyond the concrete jungle that we tend to live in sometimes. And I learned that if you decide to take yourself off the grid altogether and remove yourself off every platform, government platform, driver's license, bank account, Medicare card, all those kinds of things. You can't drive a car. You can't even go to the doctors without paying full fees. Like, there's some restrictions in there. So that's our very radical red pill. The idea of the purple pill is, well, why do we have to have one or the other? Why can't we create our purple pill that is in the middle, that is a little from column A and a little from column B, and really cultivate the life that we choose to live as human beings with our own brains and minds and thoughts and instincts, creating our own purple pill life. Did I miss anything, Andy?
No. In a word, absolutely nail on the head with it. Yeah, like the thing is, and without wanting to tread back over the previous episode around this too much, it's about maintaining an identity whilst playing the game that is in front of us, essentially, right? If you conform too much, you just become another cog in the machine, another brick in the wall, as Pink Floyd once said, right? But if you become too much of an anarchist, then ultimately, you're going to get ill at some point. You're going to want to see a doctor, and you ain't going to be able to do that. There's basic fundamentals of life whereby if you're wanting to stay in a Western civilization and a Western society, you're going to have to play to the tune at some stage or another, lest your existence just isn't going to happen. So that's what it's all about, gang. It's this balance between the two. It's this individualization of what is very much a conformist sort of society. So, Kiani, I want to dig into the purple thing a little bit more, because it's something that has prompted a few questions coming our way, and a few people have said, have sort of sent us messages and whatnot saying, it sounds really interesting. I feel like I've just been doing, the same thing's been Groundhog Day. I've had that a couple of times, particularly from one or two people who have got jobs that they aren't really that arsed about, and, they don't really like it, but they're doing it because they need to pay the bills and all this sort of stuff. So first question I want to ask you, Key, is what is, like, if we're to chug down this purple pill, like, what is the ultimate outcome of all of this?
That's a great question, and I guess a two-part answer, in a sense that in its core, and this is where I kind of get a bit stuck on the word purple pill, because for me, my reference to pills is we take a pill to get better, or we take a pill to heal something, or we take a pill to fix something or escape something, depending on what kind of pill you're taking, or just dance for hours, But to me, there is a fixed nature of that. We're taking it for a reason, or to get something, or to gain something, or to mask something, or to cover something. Whereas for me, this purple world that we are cultivating, it doesn't have a destination. It doesn't have a fixed endpoint. It doesn't have an outcome as such. So I like to use the term purple path. So we are getting off the conveyor belt to find our purple path. Because I have experienced this myself, hopping off the conveyor belt, swinging and giving the red side a try, and then the pendulum, watching that pendulum come back again and going, okay, I know I can't live full red pill. That is not my jam. Oh, that when I was full blue pill, I was physically dying on the inside. And the funny thing that I found in both of those pills is that there's an element of lack, and there is an element of anger and hatred that sit under both of those. Whether in the blue pill, you're dying and killing yourself on the inside to please everybody else. And then on the red pill, you're angry at the man, and you're angry at the government, and you're angry at, there's this heaviness that comes with having to be so strongly one way or the other. And so for me, creating this mentality and implementing this wholeheartedly in my life for the last, over 2 years now, it's seen a lot of letting go of old things. It's almost like trying on a new pair of jeans. It's like, oh, do they fit well? Do they not? And that's why the word pill doesn't really sit so well with me, because I'm not a size 8 in a high-waisted jean cut. Because as I change and grow, I might be a size 6 in a low-waisted jean cut. Then I might go to a 10 and whatever I need at the time. So the path to me is really important. The start part really, for me, starts with curiosity. It's being curious about life and starting to take a bit of an observer's seat to your life and start to question things. And it's not questioning out of, I was raised with lies or anything like that, but it's going, okay, so I went to a state school, and the books that I read in the library were chosen by the state school. So we didn't have any books on astrology or spirituality or any kind of the red side. Yes, we had our Western medicine and we had our Western sciences, but there wasn't much around naturopathy, or there wasn't much around alternative healing modalities. And that's okay, but that's the school system that I was raised in. So therefore, the knowledge that I consumed from my school. Therefore, that is what I'm going to take into my adult life and create the life that I'm going to live. So by becoming curious, it was going, okay, so if there is no fixed destination, then I can't really balls this up, can I? So it was just trying little things and what feels good, what doesn't. And I'm sure for those of you who've watched my journey, there's been lots of, Tony Robbins events and Avatar. We met John a few weeks ago on our podcast. Avatar materials changed my life. And those materials fundamentally are about removing the indoctrinations and the patterns that weren't necessarily harming us, but they just didn't really give us the whole picture of what our lives could be. And I think wrapping it all up is we don't know what we don't know. So we only know what we've consumed from people that we grew up around, our parents, the TV and radio and newspapers. So, it's not our fault. It's just we don't know that there's any other way to live.
Yeah.
But this topic to me and to everyone that I've spoken about and the feedback that we've gotten, even just that little wake-up call of going, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, wow. You start thinking a little bit differently and you start questioning things and being curious about things, and it just leads to a deeper conversation.
Yeah, absolutely fine. I can hear a few people that are listening to what was a fabulous explanation just there to that question of what's the end result in all this. I can hear a few people saying, easy for you to say in the Sunshine Coast with your business and your this and your that and the other and blah, blah, blah. I'm in a job that I can't leave, that I need in order to pay bills, get by, put food on the table, real sort of paycheck to paycheck sort of mentality, which I think all of those people, they would wholly admit is making them miserable, but they don't feel that they have the space, be it financially or time or whatever, to be curious, right? So, my previous life structure, when I was very much conveyor belt driven, was incredibly restrictive in terms of thinking and exploring and being curious, right? And I went to a private school. I was fortunate that my parents remortgaged their house and put us through a private school. But even then, it didn't matter what sort of type of school you really went to. There was a very much a conforming sort of pattern whereby you were asked to go one path or another path. Like at my school, it wasn't even considered for me to go straight into a career. Like it was an assumption that I was going to go to university and do a degree, which in hindsight, fucking so far the wrong thing for me to do.
But you had fun.
Lots of fun. Yeah. So what do we say? What do you say to those people, right? What do you say to those people that just feel that, right, it's all well and good talking from your ivory tower? Not that you're in an ivory tower, but it's all well and good talking from there. Mm-hmm. And what if you're really sort of, balls deep in mess and drama and bills and debts and all that?
Yeah. And I totally get it. And there is a real element for people that are stuck in those situations of acknowledging as a start point that the way that we think can create certain things and loopholes, and going, okay, so if I'm thinking this way, maybe there could be things I could do. As much as that situation is not comfortable, we become comfortable in our patterns and in the cards that we've been dealt. Because we think that is all we're capable of, or this is what we deserve, or I made my bed, I'm going to lie in it. And I speak from experience, 100% experience. Like I was there with 2 kids, 24 years old, in an abusive relationship, being told that I couldn't leave, I couldn't do anything. I was never going to accomplish anything. I was never anything without that person. I did not have a cent. Every cent was taken off me. We were living absolutely week to week with an addict. There was no money. So I hear you and I hear them, and I absolutely wholeheartedly feel for them. And in every inch of my being, don't wish for anyone to ever be in that situation. But unfortunately, that can become our reality. And first step to that is deciding that we don't want this to be our reality anymore, And it's a fundamental fact that the only one that can change our reality is ourselves. And we are very lucky to live in a society now where we can get access to free mental health support. We can get mental health care plans, and we can get access to psychologists, because for me, that was the first step. The first step for me was just speaking to someone. And that was the hardest thing in the world. But when I started to speak to someone and started to get these things out and voice how I was feeling and what was going on, and just having, they're psychologists, they don't give you much, but even just having that, that must be hard for you. Going, yeah, it's hard. Like, this is not what I signed up for. I did not sign up to live this life. Like, it's not fair. And they are the feelings of it. And you don't always have to get to a rock bottom moment to decide to make change. And this is where a lot of the great people that we see out there, we see it come from a near-death experience or something really, really traumatic. And I've got a few inspiring women around me at the moment who were in less than desirable situations, but turned around one day, woke up one morning and went, nah, this is not my life. This is not the life I'm going to live. This is not the life I want to live for my children. This is hell no, am I going to put up with this anymore? And it's that fire inside of you that only we can stir up. We can find someone else to kind of get us up on our feet, but mate, we have to stay there. It's like being a baby giraffe and learning to walk for the first time. It's a long way down when we fall, and we're going to fall. Mm. But it's having that burning desire inside of you that you go, this is not my story. This is not all there is. And having that, like finding that feeling, and for me, it took me a very long time to find that feeling because I was numb to the bone, and I'd been numb for 30 years. So feeling feelings was not a fun part. For me, I felt with my head, and that was where my blue pill, my drive kicked in, going, you know better, you can do better. Yes, I had been conditioned in a different way, but there was something that lit a fire inside of me that I went, no, I'm going to try. I'm at least going to try. If I don't go anywhere, then, at least I've tried. So there is something in all of us that can shift us forwards. We've just got to find what that is for us. And the kids were a great resource for me. Like, I kind of didn't have a choice because I had to keep the kids alive. God knows where I'd be now if I didn't have the children. But for me, it was I had to keep them comfortable, safe and secure, and food on the table. And that's when I went, right, let's start looking. Options. What else is out there? Can I find? And the thought of finding time, holy crap. People are telling me to meditate, and I'm like, when am I going to do that? My meditation is sleeping, right? Because I only get a few hours a night because I've got 2 toddlers and I'm trying to run a business, which was not going very well at all. So the sort of finding time is really freaking hard. But it's like anything. So like when you meet someone new, and all of a sudden, like before you meet someone new, you're so busy, you've got no time, you're stressed, there's no sleep. Then you meet this amazing person and you're just infatuated with them. And then all of a sudden you've got this time to spend with them because you realize that there are things that you can not sacrifice, but you can make shorter, or, you can find time when you really, really want to. And we've been raised and conditioned in a society that part of our path in life is to find a partner and make our partner happy. So if we've found the wrong partner, that can be really detrimental. If we don't have a partner, that can be really detrimental. But it's the mentality of, how do I keep myself motivated? How do I find that drive and that passion in me, for me, and for my children? Yes, absolutely. But there is something that needs to be or can be cultivated in all of us. And we've just got to find what that is, because this is where that purple path comes in. It's unique for everyone. There is no time frame. So for me, I've been on this journey of spirituality and healing and health for over 60, I'm 36 now, but 6 years. Whereas finding that purple path, I still felt like I was a really fixed human in certain elements. Yeah. And cultivating this purple path has been letting go of all the things that I thought and allowing myself to invite in these things that I will be. So
I think if anybody's feeling shit about their lives, but they're like, I can't, I'm stuck, I got to pay bills, blah, blah, blah. The fact that you aren't satisfied by that, the fact that you aren't just giving in and accepting that as your lot, it says in itself that you are, or your mind is wanting to know what if, right? And I think that's probably the first question you need to ask yourself. Like, what if I could? Or what if? Well, what if I did have a little bit of time? How would that look?
Because for most of us, we sit on the, what if it doesn't work? What if I can't? What if I fail? And then the flip side is you say, like, what if it actually works?
Yeah.
What if it actually happens? What if you actually succeed? Like, where's the wonder in that? We get so stuck in our fear and in debilitating fear. I'm not discounting it. We've got some great notions within our bodies that put us in certain states that mean that we can't actually physically move forwards. But the thoughts, the mind, what if we could start dreaming up those dreams?
What if we could? I look, there are some people that are in desperate situations. Like you were in a desperate situation, right?
Yep.
But, let's rip the Band-Aid. There are some of yous that are whinging and yet you're not prepared to be curious, either because you can't be asked or you're just way too lazy to acknowledge, first off, that you've only got one person to blame, right?
Thank you for your directness, Andy.
Well, piss. Seriously.
No, but I was there. I get it. And so there's a few words that I catch on myself when I say the words should, could, would, have to. Yeah. Those words, for me, every time I say one, should, would, could, or have to, I go, shut up, Kiani. I can, I will, I have, and I get to.
Yeah, she actually pulled me up on that shit the other night, actually, when I was saying that I needed to, I've got to go do a workout. And she went, you've got to or you get to? I mean, piss off. Like, seriously, Kiani. Like, no, I have got to. Otherwise, I'm going to get my ass kicked in a month and a half's time.
Correct. And we will support you on your journey, even if you do get your ass kicked. But there are people in the world that don't get to go to the gym. So stop your whinging. And I'm allowed to do that with you. We've passed the threshold.
Yeah, totally.
The thing I wanted to mention just off the back of that, the beauty of this concept is that it is not universal. So it can be relevant to any scenario. And this isn't going, oh my God, I'm all of a sudden going to move to the Sunshine Coast and live a hippie life like I do with no shoes on.
Yeah.
It's going, right, in this moment, the minute I've got to pay bills, I can't do that. There, you've just gone full blue pill. I can't do it. In that moment, you go, okay, reality check, right? I can't do that, but if I maybe cut down here, here, and here, or if I was able to do this, this, and this, or if I was able to do X, Y, and Z, maybe I could. And it's just questioning yourself. This is the observer, right? You hear yourself say it. I can't do that. And then you go, actually, I'm going to challenge that. Maybe I can. And this is where, for those of you who are stuck in that rush or in that hole or in that constant Groundhog Day hamster wheel style of life, for you, it will be starting with just paying attention to your thoughts. And there's an amazing man, Michael Singer, who wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. And the first chapter of that, if you only read the first chapter of that, it's the best thing you'll ever do in your life, because he talks about the fact that our thoughts are external to us, because we are actually listening to our thoughts. We can't speak and listen at the same time. So this is our ego telling us and convincing us and talking to us. So if he can talk to us, then we can talk back and we can control what we say back. So when we hear a can't, we can turn around and go, oh, I could. Maybe not right now or in this moment, but I could. And if we can start changing the framework from a very micro situation or scenario up to a macro situation scenario, such as what are we going to do for the rest of our lives, we can start changing the way that we think and changing the way that we behave and changing the things that we accept and changing the narrative that has been our life so far.
Do you hear that, gang? Just listen to this chick. She kind of knows what she's talking about. What I would say as well is, because it's all well and good saying that everybody needs accountability partners and so on and so forth. And like in that example with me doing a workout the other night, Kiani fell into that accountability role and gave me a little kick up the bum to say, stop whinging. And so,
Polite,
yeah, she's way too polite sometimes, gang. So But if you're but a lot of the time, a lot of people think, I'm just defaulting to how a lot of people think. They'll find there's a problem for every solution, and you'll say things along the lines of, yeah, but I can't afford a coach. I can't afford to go on them courses. They cost thousands of dollars, blah, 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 blah. I would bet the house on you being able to just stop for half a minute and have a look at your circle, right? Just have a look at your friends or family members, people that you know socially. And you don't have to have someone that is like a multi-millionaire, jet-setting, bloody whatever. It can just be someone that is just on that next rung up, right? That next step up on the ladder, right? So, they may not have a lot of things sorted, but they've got something in their lives, or they've got some sort of structure or some sort of aspect of their lives that you would love to have.
Yeah, because it also doesn't have to be material either. It can be the way that they think. We see a lot of people, like we've got a beautiful friend of ours. She sees rainbows and love hearts everywhere. That is her beautiful nature, and we love her dearly for that. But not everyone's like that.
Nope.
So if you know that we're not like that, find yourself an amazing, incredible human like Mez. And
Hey, Mez.
Hey, Mez, we love you. But some of that, it oozes out. It honestly does. Those kinds of energies, they share. But you've got to remember that if you're coming in with a dark and heavy energy, they're not going to want to spend time with you. So you've got to want it. You've got to want to be around these people, and you've got to want to learn from them. If you're going around these people to just put shit on them or go, I can't be like that, or I'm not going to do that, it's a different mentality. But as Andy was saying, find your circle of influence, and find people that you aspire to be like, or have traits that you would love to cultivate in your life, or have practices or processes or harmonizing beauty that just oozes out of their soul. Find those people who you wish to be like and start creating the life. It's up to you.
Or even just ask the questions, man. Like, I think one thing, I think I've made this mistake when you go too hard, like what you said before about the pendulum thing. So maybe just start just by asking the questions. Like, so it could be emotion, it could be things, it could be lifestyle, right? So how many times do I hear lad friends of mine in particular saying, "Oh, I'd love to lace some football boots on again," or "I'd love to, get involved with a football or a sports club, or I'd love to do something like that, but I just haven't got time." But then I reckon within a couple of steps, within a couple of circles of influence, you would have someone that has got perhaps one more kid than you that still has a job and still has time to go be the coach of a local soccer team, right? So
a couple of other things too. If we turn this away from being external and turn it internal, some of the ways that we can start thinking and looking and observing ourselves is go, am I an introvert or an extrovert? And does that shift depending on who I'm around? Then looking at, do I have a fixed mindset or do I have an abundant mindset? Meaning, is my mindset really kind of, I lock onto something and I'm solid in terms of I believe that and I won't change it? Or is it abundant, meaning I'm open to anything and I'm willing to explore and be curious and open up a little bit? Then also have a look at the family and friends, as you said. Are they fixed mindsets or abundant? Are they introverts or extroverts? So that you can start to simply, we do not judge, we're observing. You are observing the behaviors, because these are the people that will be cultivating the person that you have become. So just take a little backseat to your life for a minute and pretend you're watching a movie and have a look at how many things you can find in that movie. Because the most amazing and fundamental piece of learning that I learned, and I shared this in an event that I spoke at last week, and I had a girl come up to me after it, and she's like, I almost didn't come tonight. And I said, well, thank you so much for making the time. And she's like, no, I now know why I came. And it was because of this little concept that I was taught in the avatar materials. And it's that your beliefs create your behaviors and your beliefs create your experiences. And the reality that we face is that we as humans can change our beliefs. So if we change our beliefs in the way that we think, in the way that we behave, and our experiences as a result all change. So that fixed mindset can become an abundant mindset. That introvert can become an extrovert. If we hold on to the beliefs that we think are true, we won't change. But if we can expand on that and change our beliefs, and there are methods and modalities that can help you do that, and no, you don't have to go and spend thousands of dollars to do this. There are a lot of people willing to give their time away just to help people cultivate these things. But if you change your beliefs, you will change your life.
Gang, this is not the end of this conversation. I feel it is absolutely only the beginning.
I just got started, Andy.
I know she did. She has. I can see her. She's bloody building up a head of steam and whatnot, right? But I think we need to give our listeners just a chance to just take some of that in, Key. I think that just maybe replay this and have another think and a feel and ask yourself what if. And as Kiani said, this is it's got no fixed outcome. There's no destination. There's no a definition of success.
No quick win, no quick fix. No.
Definitely no quick fix. But it is a path that we've been intrigued by, that our lives have been benefited by going down. And I think we'd encourage you just to shine your torch down that purple path for a second and see how it feels, see how it fits on you. And because no doubt we'll be tackling this over multiple episodes. I reckon I really feel like I'm going to get practical in the next one, so we'll probably talk about it.
Yeah, I'd really like to tackle the business side of it because this is how I changed my business.
Yeah, so we'll go all businessy with it next. But as a concept, just have a think about how you can maybe apply this if you are stuck, or how it can just even create a crack in this hard shell.
Allow yourself to dream. Create those what ifs, as Andy said. What if it could? Just do it. Just start to bloody dream. And don't be scared of what those dreams are because they're yours. No one's judging them. You don't even need to write them down. Just think about them.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to dream.
You don't have to share them with anyone either. It's your dream. It's not all to do with anyone else. So, anyway, Key.
That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, this is heaps of fun. Team, if you have any questions, and I'm confident that some of you may, please hit us up on DM.
Strongly encourage the questions because they will help us form moving forwards. And I've clearly got a lot to say on the topic. So,
no, for sure, but it's going to prompt more questions and answers as we go through this. So please don't be shy in coming forward. We won't disclose your name if you don't want us to or anything like that. It'll be totally confidential. We're not doctors, we're not psychologists, we're just two people been on a bit of a trip and have got some battle scars to share. So if we can help, then we absolutely will.
Humans doing business.
Indeed. All right, gang, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. On behalf of Kiani and myself, speak to you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are very grateful for your time and we really hope that we've provided some value.
Follow us on Instagram if you've liked what you've heard, and if you have anything that you want us to talk about, things that might have been bugging you but you've not quite had the bottle to really bring it out into the open, send us a DM and we'll happily bring it to the table.